Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
It worked.
We did it.
We did
I'm so
it.
impressed with us.
Technological wizards.
Yes, true. Nice
You
to see you.
too. I don't remember how we met, but it was one of those instant love affairs and connections and respect. And we've done a few things together, but I wanted to talk today, share with some of the people that might not even know what the term neurodivergence means. We're doing a class tomorrow, a really low cost way to get a roadmap for the steps ahead. But let's start by a parent stumbled onto this video or this live and they've heard the term thrown around. Can you expand on what neurodivergence means?
Yes, and I have to just say I'm so excited that the term neurodivergence has gained in popularity and visibility because when I started Tilt parenting 8.5 years ago, that word was not part of the
Yeah.
lexicon, which is why I started using this phrase differently wired, because so much of the language around neurodevelopmental differences like ADHD or autism or learning disabilities and dyslexia or being gifted, all of those things, a lot of it was deficit based, it was pathologizing these differences. And so neurodivergence is a kind of umbrella term that really is referring to all of these different types of neurodevelopmental differences that I just mentioned. So I don't like to say there's a neurotypical way and everyone else is in this other bucket, but it really captures people who are moving through the world in a different way and who might struggle in certain environments because they weren't set up or designed to really support the way that they experience things.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember many years ago, before I was diagnosed with ADHD, which was such a relief in my 40s, I remember I used to work with a lot of kids. I was a psychotherapist, but also an educational therapist. And a lot of times the child would be dropped off, pushed in the door, can you fix this kid? And I would explain to the parents, and sometimes when I conference with teachers, imagine that you speak Swahili. That's your native language. You're super great at speaking Swahili, but you're dropped into a classroom where everything is delivered in English. And then you're labeled as having sort of a dysfunction or disability or a deficit or something pathological, when in fact it's just not your language that's being spoken. And so yeah, you're being disruptive, you're jumping up and down, you're falling asleep on your desk, you're carving into the desk, you're all of these ways that kids try and let us know this isn't a fit. This is a round peg in a square hole. Can we just have a lot of varied size holes for everybody so they can expand and build on their gifts and talents and passions. I think your work has played a really significant role in bringing some of this to light.
Yeah, I hope so. When I started Tilt, I did it because I was raising one of those kids who was just not thriving in the multiple educational environments that we tried, and me trying so many different parenting philosophies and approaches and strategies and just really not finding that it was working for my child or for our family. And so I just there has to be a better way. And I also knew that I wasn't alone. And so it is really exciting to see the shifts and the increasing awareness of who these kids inherently are, and this kind of shift in thinking about behavior differently. You've been a part of this shift. Dr. Mona Delahook, who is a mutual friend that we love and adore, has been a huge part of this reframe. And so it is an exciting time, and it's still, we're not there yet. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. I'm starting to take art classes, and no talent, just to get that out there. But it's amazing because I've been taking them for over a year, and I'm painting, and I have a wonderful teacher. And the other day in our adult class, it happened that there were three or four young teens. One was about 20, 19, and the others were in one middle school and a couple in high school. And all of them clearly neurodivergent, and so relaxed and so happy and getting along and making jokes and or not, and so much tolerance between them and so much support, mutual warmth and support, and in that environment of that art class. And I just thought, this is how it's supposed to go. And then one kid dropped by, the daughter of someone I know, and she's gender neutral and neurodivergent. She didn't tell me what her particular diagnoses were, but so in her skin about it. And I know her mom, and I know that her mom has been expansive. And so let's talk a little bit about this idea, and we're going to do this in our class tomorrow, of creating a plan that's based on what isn't working. Originally, that was going to be our title, and it was a little clumsy, but I want people who are attending to know that if things are hard, or you're trying things that aren't working, that this is the goal of what you do and what we're going to do tomorrow in a brief but practical session to help people get a roadmap. Can you say a bit more about making a plan and the importance and where to start?
Yeah, I think when we're raising a neurodivergent child, we tend to get a lot of information that lets us know this isn't working, whether it's related to school. That's because our kids spend so much time at school. That tends to be an area or an environment where kids are not thriving, or there can be problems. We might be getting a lot of information from teachers or school administration, or from coaches for athletic teams, or what we observe in the home.
Yeah.
We might be dealing with big behaviors that we can't understand. We might be getting referrals or suggestions to try this therapy or investigate to find out what's going on. And parenting a child like this, we don't know what we're doing. If we haven't raised a neurodivergent child before, we're in the dark, and we can feel so overwhelmed with all the things that are hard, and it's so hard to even know where to start. And it's very personal for us as parents. We can feel like we're failing, like we made wrong decisions, like we're not equipped to do this. And so because it is so big, and it's also really easy to spin out and future cast this doomsday scenario for, we have a 5-year-old and we might be picturing them like sitting in the basement at 25 playing video games and not having a thriving future, right? So we can really be guided by fear. So the purpose of what I'm so excited that we're going to be doing together is to help parents understand what is in their control, and to recognize that there are so many areas where we can be in choice. And how do we design an experience and a life for our families that is in alignment with our values, where we can feel empowered to make choices that support our families, that really help our kids thrive, and also take care of our own mental health in the process. So it's just, what we're going to be doing is helping parents feel like they know where to start, and just be able to just feel a little more grounded, get out of that swirl, like sense of urgency, and actually, okay, I know what I need to do today. I know what I'm working towards.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I hope that those of you, feel free to write a comment if you can relate, that whether you know your child isn't neurodivergent, they have a diagnosis of sensory processing disorder or ADHD or autism spectrum, whatever it might be, that if you're listening and you already know, then glad you're here, and I hope you're following Debbie's work. I'd love for you to join us tomorrow in our little class. Again, very affordable, packed with supportive information. But some of you might be listening and go, I don't think my child has a diagnosis. I think they're just a little quirky or a little different, maybe a little sensitive. It doesn't really matter. The diagnosis itself can be useful, in particular to frame what's going on with our child and normalize some of what they're going through and what we're experiencing as their parent, and sometimes to get accommodations. But in the end, to me, it's about, if your child or you need support parenting your child, then seek help. And I love what you said, Debbie, about the kind of future pacing, this imagined life that our child may have as a 25-year-old stuck in the basement with no friends playing video games, or who knows what it'll be at that point.
Yeah.
But that we have options, and that this is where we have to be proactive. In a lot of the things that I do in my parent community, I tell parents, you're often at a crossroads as you parent. You often have sometimes a difficult choice to make, to just muddle along, stumble along, try and get through today and fall into bed at the end of the day without anyone having gotten really badly hurt. But there's also a choice. It sometimes takes a little bit of support, help, effort, money, investment. There's a choice to forge a different path, because there's plenty of evidence that there are parents of kids who've got pretty significant challenges based on their temperament not aligning with the way the world works, who are thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that's where information and knowledge are power.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think what I hear from so many parents when they find Tilt is that they just feel stuck. They feel completely overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. And maybe they don't have a formal diagnosis for their child either. I think that's important to say, because as parents, we know if our kid isn't thriving in certain environments, or we notice that anxiety is high in this environment, or that
Right.
there are areas of struggle. And it can feel as though, if we haven't zoomed out and considered alternative paths, or we're just taking advice from things that, from people or institutions or systems that may not feel great to us, but we're so committed to staying on this one path, even though it might not be the right fit for our child. So it can be so freeing when you lean into, okay, this is gonna probably look different, and start to get curious about that. That's actually really exciting when we reach that point.
That's great. All right, everybody. I know we said we'd do this just briefly. Seems on Instagram everything is brief. Again, this is Susan Stiffelman. I'm here with Debbie Reber, and we have been colleagues and friends for a long time. We finally met back in April with Janet Lansbury. Oh my God, I'll start crying when I think about
I know, what a day.
Mona Delahook. I surprised everybody with, or Mona surprised everybody. Tina Bryson, and you, me, and
Maggie.
Maggie Dent.
Yeah,
Oh
what
my
an
God.
incredible group of women that I was, so grateful for that afternoon. It really touched me in so many ways, and it was so great to meet you in person,
I
because we
know.
have known each other for a long time
I
and
know.
collaborated. So yeah, very cool.
We're part of this cadre of people who want to help change the world by helping parents raise great kids. And for those of you whose kid might just be a little different or very different from the world standards, or school's expectations, or social expectations, please join us tomorrow or catch the replay. We always make sure that people can get the replay, since most parents don't attend these things live, but they watch the replay. But you can submit a question of your own. Amy, I think my wonderful Amy has put it in the chat, but also we'll set things up so that you can find it at susanstiffelman.com very easily. And Debbie, anything you want to wrap up with?
I just want to say that what we've designed together, I haven't presented this before. So I'm so excited, because we intentionally made this very practical. So that's what excites me, is because I feel like so often we're drinking from the fire hose, me included. And like, I'm consuming content constantly to make life better for me, to feel better, to have more tools and resources. And tomorrow, in doing this, we are going to help parents walk away feeling lighter and feeling like they have a plan. And that just really, I'm excited about that. So
yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Again, the class is tomorrow. It's on raising your neurodivergent child, whether you have a diagnosis or not. And we always scholarship people. If you're really in need for that kind of support, don't hesitate to ask at support@susanstiffelman.com. Again, visit Debbie's work at Debbie at Tilt Parenting, and I'm at susanstiffelman.com. We hopefully will see you tomorrow. And Debbie, maybe we can continue these conversations. I think there's a great need. Anyone who's listening, if this is interesting to you or resonant with you, we would be so grateful if you would share the link either to this video once it's up, or to the class, because there are a lot of people who don't even know why they keep having a hard time, or their child's siblings are constantly complaining. And I know I've been doing this work for over 40 years, how radically things can improve when we make a few small changes. So I hope
Yeah.
people will take advantage of that. And meanwhile, thank you for your incredible work, Debbie.
Oh, thank you, Susan. I'm so excited for this.
See
Bye.
everyone. Bye.